So today I'm here with Madeline Kent, one of the agents on our team. And Madeline, how long have you been in real estate?
Well, I got my license in February of 2021, and so I'm entering my 5th year.
Wow, that's been a long time, longer than I thought.
Yeah.
So what has kept you in real estate?
Honestly, I think that the flexibility, for one, being able to be more present in all areas of my life. And then number two, it's just a really rewarding profession. You're helping people, move from one chapter to the next. And sometimes it's not always a happy thing, but that's where we come in and we alleviate a burden, a really big burden from people. And sometimes it is a happy thing. So it's a really rewarding career in that way.
So in the past couple of weeks, you've been on a lot of listing appointments, and you've really talked sellers through getting their home ready to go on the market.
Yes.
What is one of the things that you talk about that maybe other agents in the industry do not talk about?
Yeah, one of the biggest pieces of advice I have is for sellers to get a pre-home inspection, because it alleviates a big question mark of what's going to potentially come up in the inspection period. And typically a buyer will do their own inspections, but if you as a seller take that and do that before you list, then you already would be aware of any major thing that came up, and you could potentially do repairs, and also, pricing your home accordingly if it did need work and you weren't able to do it.
So do you think that's something that's attractive to buyers in today's market?
I think it is. I think it shows, first of all, transparency to buyers. It also shows that you've done your due diligence as a seller, because you could live in a house for 10, 20 years and you may know a lot about that house, but there could be areas of that house that you haven't been in or, haven't been to, like up in the attic. And so I think it provides a really good insight for the sellers, and then in return, it shows the buyers that you're willing to work with them and you're willing to fix things.
So whenever we write a contract for a buyer, there are so many inspections that a buyer has the option to order and have done on the home. But, most of the time they just order a few. So coming from the seller's side, what inspections would you say would be most advantageous to them getting their home ready to put on the market?
Well, I would first say it does depend on the home, the age of the home, but I would definitely start out with a general home inspection, which would be done by an Oklahoma licensed inspector, and they're going to take a look at everything. They're going to take a look at the roof. They're going to take a look at basically sheetrock in. They're going to look at electrical and make recommendations. I would also recommend that you do a pest inspection, checking for termites, and because that can also get people. They may not realize that something is going on with that. I also suggest that if you have a roof that is, let's say, it's over 10 years old, definitely have a roofer come out and take a look at your house. Because that's a really big deal, especially where we live in Oklahoma. We get a lot of wind and tornadoes and hail, and that can definitely affect the resale of your house. And I would say roofs are probably the number one thing that people have to replace.
Another thing that we have, especially in rural areas, are septic tanks. And so what are your thoughts on that?
Yes, if you have a septic tank, I definitely recommend that you get a septic inspection. Also, if you have, let's say you have a wood burning fireplace, getting a chimney inspection, a home inspector will look at that, but you can go ahead and be on top of it and get a specialist out there to take a look at it.
Okay. Another thing that comes up is swimming pools. Sometimes, people don't think about the fact that if they're going to put their home on the market, that swimming pool needs to be open and ready for a buyer to look at.
Absolutely. And not having any deferred maintenance on a swimming pool, because, a swimming pool is a really big liability to pass on to somebody. And there's, again, things that can come up with that can be really costly. And just in general, with home inspections, when you pre-inspect, you're going to put yourself in a better position to know ahead of time and to be able to either do those repairs or provide, an appropriate amount of concession.
Okay. So this does seem a little overwhelming. If I was someone getting ready to put my home on the market and I had just listened to you talk about this, it seems overwhelming. Yeah. I'm trying to just figure out where to put all the stuff in my house, and you're telling me I need to go ahead and do these extra steps. So how can you help somebody through this process?
Yeah, of course. So number one, we can provide recommendations for inspectors, people that have a lot of experience, and we can facilitate scheduling those. And then whenever you do get the result of your general inspections back, then that's where we can sit down and we can take a look at that. And before you go forward with repairs or anything of that nature, we can discuss and help break it down for you, depending on your goals and your needs.
So it sounds like to me that maybe it might be a little bit more work at the beginning, but it could alleviate some stress and maybe the unknowns once your home goes under contract.
For sure, for sure.
Okay, so there again, if you need someone to help walk you through getting your home listed and maybe want to look at getting your home inspected beforehand, please get a hold of Madeline, and her information is here on the screen. And anything else, any closing thoughts you would like to add?
Just that knowledge is power when it comes to inspections, and I promise it will make you feel better, going forward.
Okay. Thank you for tuning into this episode, and don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and of course share it. Thanks again.